Hello there, it's Tanya Gabrielle, Wealth Astronumerologist. Welcome to Star Codes. This is the podcast where we look at a very important astrology numerology event coming up. And in this case, it's the Sagittarius total solar eclipse, new moon eclipse, happening on December 4th. And there's so many components to this eclipse that we're going to look at, such interesting storylines. So it happens on the 4th of December at 7:43 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, London. And that would be at 2:43 a.m. New York Eastern Time and 11:43 p.m. December 3rd Pacific Time, LA. Now, it happens at 12 degrees, and 12 is an important number because it defines a lot of our human experience. 12 hours in the day and night, 12 months, 12 signs. We have 12 inches in a foot. We have a dozen, right? So it is a big number. And then when 12 merges together, when the unit of 12, it then emerges as a unit, a unity, and that is the 13. So we have the 12 apostles and Jesus, for example. And so 13 and 12 are two numbers we always want to pay attention to. 13 is actually the number that governs the lunar cycles and the Venus cycles. So very amazing combination that we have here. So now Sagittarius, the symbol is the archer with the arrow, and the arrow is pointing to truth and wisdom. So the bullseye is, the nuggets of wisdom, the nuggets of truth. And so Sagittarius governs higher beliefs, higher learning, and it symbolizes an unquenching thirst for wisdom and knowledge. So you expand your horizons under the influence of this sign. And you want to know the meaning of life, and that often comes through the never-ending search for wisdom, but also the eternal quest for truth and justice. So there's an enthusiasm, a quest per se, that is very exciting. It's adventurous. There is a sense of exploration and joy in the nature of the exploration. And Jupiter, the planet that rules Sagittarius, enhances everything through fortunate flow, through happiness, through humor, through positive outcomes, a positive outlook, through gratitude. And Sagittarius and Jupiter really help us to trust, to feel free, and to laugh at life. And laughing at life is one of the keys to really moving through any experience and coming out on the other side intact, meaning not in any way damaged or really weighted down in some way, because the laughter itself is such a release and it lightens the energy. So this sign is super important right now as we are navigating so much change, and you could say a lot of heavy topics, right? So now what is really important here with this eclipse, it's the final one in the Sagittarius-Gemini axis, which we've been going through for the last year and a half or so. So it's very important. It's an ending of a cycle in that Sagittarius-Gemini axis. And what's so amazing is Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, will be conjunct to Neptune next year in Pisces, Neptune's sign. And Neptune and Jupiter really love each other because Jupiter is the original ruler of Pisces. And that conjunction, which is really powerful, is happening in April 2022. So you could say this eclipse with Jupiter, which Jupiter rules, is really the beginning of the excitement that we're going to feel when these two planets come together in April of next year. So it creates a forward momentum, and that forward momentum is enhanced because nearly every planet is now in direct motion, including Neptune, and the only planets that are still retrograde are Uranus and Chiron. and Uranus will change direction in January. Now, coming up in later December, Venus is stationing retrograde, and that is a big deal, and we'll be looking at that in a future podcast coming very shortly. But the fact that almost all the planets are moving direct with this new moon of new beginnings makes this a celebration of sorts, especially because the one planet, or the important planet that's still retrograde, is creating such a close connection to the eclipse itself, and that's Uranus. Uranus is creating a 150-degree quincunx, or inconjunct, to the sun and moon in Sagittarius. Uranus is at 11 degrees 39 minutes in Taurus, and the eclipse is at 12 degrees 22 minutes in Sagittarius. So that brings a lot of change. Sagittarius is the fountain of wisdom, and these days the fountain of wisdom is a very good thing to seek. When we look at everything we are navigating, having some wisdom about how to do that is, of course, very much appreciated. And so I'm happy to say that Mercury, the planet that translates everything in our mind and intellectually, is conjunct, merged with this new moon. Mercury will be at 15 degrees in Sagittarius, 15 being the spiritual alchemist, a very joyful number of love. And that merging actually focuses on us not only being practical, but being compassionate at the same time. So we use our intuition because of the Uranus quincunx. Uranus is a very intuitive planet, and then Mercury translates and brings a great clarity so that we can have these kinds of positive insights and a lot of positive communication as well, because Mercury governs how we interact with others. So this conjunction with the eclipse places a major focus on how we think through what's going on, right? Externally and especially internally, and especially with a focus on our beliefs, because we're talking Sagittarius. And so if you hold on to believing that thought stream in your head, that voice in your head, it will argue with you, defend itself, and certainly distract you from listening to your intuition. So one of the big clues to this eclipse is our letting go of thinking through things in our mind, and instead allowing that fountain of wisdom from Sagittarius to inspire us, so that we know, the inner knowing I'm talking about, have that experience that just inspires us in the moment on what to say, where to go, what to do, the decision we need to make, whatever the case may be. And so, like I said, the quincunx to Uranus helps as well. There's a sense of being liberated from something anytime Uranus shows up. And so we're stimulated to feel free. And so in this case, the freedom is very connected to, why are we overthinking this? Why are we going backwards, thinking about the past, trying to figure out how to solve things based on previous experiences, which never works, right? We can't use the past to solve the present. And of course, if we move into the future, we're just regurgitating worries from the past. So really, the moment of being present is the key here. Now, we also have, aside from the big call to listen to your inner voice as opposed to the voice in your head, you know, that constant chatter in your head, we also have a trine to Chiron. And Chiron is the other planet that is still in retrograde. And this brings tremendous compassion, the ability to look within. The retrogrades help us to do that, and take a more creative view of the universe, being naturally aware of your inner power to change anything in your life, and really trusting that sense of purpose, which is very much strengthened under Chiron. So you're keenly aware that service to others rather than service to self is what nourishes you ultimately and brings ultimate healing. And then we also have a trine to Saturn from the sun and moon. So there are lots of contacts that this eclipse makes. And this trine to Saturn is absolutely wonderful because it means you are taking the wisdom you receive, the feelings, the intuitive insights seriously. That's what Saturn does. So you're sensing more deeply that your heart knows where to place your attention. You're taking full responsibility of your well-being, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. You really, the self-control you have with Saturn helps you stay on track and not get distracted. So this is a really lovely, lovely aspect, especially because Saturn is part of the big Capricorn experience that we've had since early 2020 when that stellium happened in Saturn's sign of Capricorn. So to have this trine to Saturn as we wrap things up this year with this eclipse and move forward into 2020 is a sign that we have arrived and we're taking responsibility for all the changes, especially in our beliefs that have transpired already this year. Now, there are a couple other transits as well. Venus conjuncts Pluto, which I absolutely love. This is very passionate, very loving. You feel attractive, you feel magnetic, and you yearn for more passion. You yearn for more connection with others. And so share your love freely. This is really a very lovely moment of beauty and financial flow, abundance, and seeing the beauty in everything, seeing the beauty in everyone, no matter who it is. Venus also sextiles Neptune. Venus plays a very big role in this eclipse. The sextile to Neptune in Pisces is amazing because it's going to stick around, as is this Pluto conjunction, for a while. And the reason is because Venus is going to be stationing retrograde later this month. So this sextile to Neptune and this conjunction to Pluto from Venus is making life very romantic. And it is really showing you how important your imagination is, and to trust your imagination, and to really be very tender, right? To have this sweet, lovely Venus energy ready to activate at any moment in time, and to just trust in the beauty of life and be sensitive to others' view of how what beauty means to them, right? It's different for everyone. Now, there are a couple of very powerful transits aside from these beautiful Venus ones. Mars is square to Jupiter and Saturn is square to Uranus. So let's start with Saturn square Uranus. That's been going on all year and it's coming back together for the final time on December 24th. So it's getting close again. And so there's a huge amount of spontaneity, creativity, harnessing your creative energy, focusing on freedom and responsibility, harmonizing the two, right? That you can't have one without the other. And there's a sense of real personal growth, a quest for independence. But the quest for independence is tempered by your desire to also be very responsible. So that's been going on all year, and it's coming back into exactitude in December. Then we have Mars square to Jupiter. Jupiter sometimes just is so enthusiastic, and Mars, of course, is very, very passionate. And so this can activate a sense of crusading for something. You have a lot of energy for a certain part of your life, a certain topic, and you have a strong desire to make positive decisions, positive transactions. But you have to guard against impulsiveness, so be very clear about what those intentions are. You have the courage to stand up for yourself, and so it really is important to not be aggressive, but firm, to use your energy wisely, like Jupiter, which is a planet of wisdom. So don't burn the candle at both ends, because the enthusiasm factor is really amplified with this square, because squares activate. And so this will give you a lot of courage. Mars, Jupiter coming together is confidence building. It's instills something where you can confront any situation that is not for your highest good and really attend to it in a positive way. So the only thing, again, to watch out for is to be moderate so you don't run out of steam, because you might go like full out and then deplete your energy resources. So those are the main aspects, and there were a lot, as you can see. And because Sagittarius is the sign of universal truths, holding the archer, the archer with the bow, it seeks a bullseye. It seeks really the third eye of perception. And the third eye resides in your head, just like your mind. So it's the third eye of truth, but it connects to the light. It connects to wisdom. So it is the discernment between that running voice, which is the illusion voice, and the perception voice, which is the divine voice. So when the illusion voice is stilled, there is no more separation, because you are connected to the divine through your intuitive perception. So at 12 degrees, it's showing, well, this is something we're learning. Life is a school, and you are an eternal student of life. That's what 12 means. And you're always learning, always evolving. And you're moving from victimhood as well, because the shadow side of 12 is to be a victim. So learning, evolving. And how do we do that? Well, it's the choices we make, because to choose is to be conscious. To choose is to be aware. So let's say there is a piece of music that has a lower vibration, and you're turning on the radio or iTunes or whatever you do, and you turn to that particular music. You have some kind of attraction to it. And so the question then is, do you like that vibration? Or do you want to choose a new vibration? Because when you're present and really listening, you can actually instantly make that decision. But when you're not present, you can't figure that out. So you've got to choose. Every moment is a choice. So you have to be conscious of what you're experiencing in the moment. How does it make you feel, right? Is this the vibration you want in your life? Now, most people are completely unconscious about making choices. And when they listen to something, that comes on, and their mood is altered, it's actually trying to get their attention. But if you're not listening, you have no idea that what you just listened to, whether it's a conversation or a piece of music, literally altered your mood. It could be a news item, it could be anything, right? So you are constantly creating and attracting, and everything in your external world that you partake in is a reflection of where you are vibrationally. Everything in your external world is a reflection of where you are vibrationally. So this is why we chose to incarnate on Earth, the school of Earth, because one of the biggest learning experiences we have is to recognize vibration. And if we didn't have a physical experience, we wouldn't be recognizing vibrations that easily, because the internal recognizing ability is a lot less. It's not as in your face as the physical. So we are here to experience physical reality, to reflect everything back at us, because our physical reality is reflecting every emotional state that we have, every mental state. It's being reflected back consistently. So through everything that you go through, right? That's a reflection of your internal life. So what you want is to be present as much as you can, and to always ask, do I like this vibration that I'm experiencing? Do I want to repeat it? Is it time to make another choice about this vibration? And remember, there's no right or wrong about it, because it's just a choice about a vibration. And you're just basically saying, I want to choose something that feels better, that feels more positive. And if this is something that you can shift in your belief systems, that there is no good or bad vibrational choice, it is all a learning experience. We are in school, 12 degrees Sagittarius. That is the ultimate school experience because Sagittarius governs higher education and 12 is the eternal student. So if this is one thing that you can shift in your belief, that everything is simply about making a vibrational choice, and we assign no value to that choice because it's all source energy in the end. So there's no right, there is no wrong, it just is what it is. So we have to consciously feel out at all times, do I like where I'm at and what I'm experiencing? And that is the question, right? So this Sagittarius solar eclipse, new beginnings, final one in the series, happening in the final month of 2021, 21 being the number of truth. The ancient Egyptian numerology, 21 is the truth shall set you free. We're in the 21st century. This is a really pivotal time, a big time. So we want to really look at that ability we have now to be utterly present and making that vibrational choice without judgment and allowing others to do the same. This is really crucial, really crucial. Now, I'm going to end by just mentioning that this eclipse actually takes place on the ascendant of the chart for the United States of America. So the ascendant is 12 degrees Sagittarius. That's the rising sign. And so this is a very big moment, because it's leading into 2.5 months from now, in February, mid-February, to the Pluto return. After 246 years, Pluto's returning to the position in the natal birth chart of the U.S. that it was when the country was founded in 1776 on July 4th. Now, this eclipse in Sagittarius takes place on the 4th of December in England, of course. You know, that's the universal time. But it is the 4, and the U.S. was born on a 4 day. So I'm mentioning this because there's so much going on in this chart in the next few months that'll have a huge impact over the next few years. And so it is an awakening. It is an education. It is tuning to joy and expansion as opposed to wasting energy and being in judgment. We want to really open up and be in non-judgment, first with ourselves, because it all starts there, right? We are constantly criticizing ourselves, wanting to be perfect, saying, "Oh, that was wrong what I did," and then we reflect that to others. And if we can move out of that and just understand that every vibrational choice is source energy, not to assign a value to it, then we have joined the beauty and joy of Sagittarius, the magnanimous ability to accept and to be grateful. So I wish you a wonderful eclipse. And if you want to know more about those 13 Venus cycles and Venus itself, I have a free masterclass for you that you can watch at VenusMarsCode.com. And it talks about the awakening and the rebalancing of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine and how they're coming together now within all of us, and how that number 13, which was, put into the I have to be afraid category of this number, how it is reemerging because it governs the lunar cycles and Venus, the divine feminine. So this is a really important time in human history to accept and acknowledge and not have fear of anything. So again, you can watch that free masterclass at VenusMarsCode.com. So enjoy that. Have a beautiful Sagittarius total solar eclipse. And I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Bye-bye for now.